What if I told you that the most of what humanity has ever known is already gone, not forgotten, burned, buried, erased, overwritten? We like to imagine history as a straight line, knowledge passed neatly from one generation to the next, scroll to book, book to hard drive, past to present. But history doesn't work like that. It stutters, it collapses, it leaves gaps. Tonight, we're entering those gaps. This is a story about lost libraries, not just buildings filled with books, but entire worldviews that vanish in smoke, ash, mud, and silence. This is the story of how knowledge dies, and sometimes, against all odds, survives. Our story begins not with paper, but with clay. In the ancient city of Nineveh, near modern-day Iraq, stood the royal library of King Ashurbanipal, one of the eldest known libraries in human history. Unlike many rulers of his time, Ashurbanipal wasn't just a conqueror, he was a reader. He sent scribes across Mesopotamia to copy texts, myths, laws, medical manuals, astronomical observations, and bring them home. Over 30,000 clay tablets filled his palace rooms. And then, in 612 BCE, Nineveh burned, the city fell, the palace collapsed. The library was engulfed in fire, and yet the knowledge survived. Because clay, when exposed to intense heat, hardens. The very flames meant to erase Assyria bake its memory into permanence. Millennia later, archaeologists would uncover tablets containing the Epic of Gilgamesh, flood myths older than the Bible, and dictionaries that help modern scholars decipher lost languages. It's one of history's great ironies. Sometimes, destruction doesn't erase memory. Sometimes, it seals it. If Ashurbanipal's library survived by accident, the Library of Alexandria died slowly, painfully, and in pieces. Founded in the 3rd century BCE, it wasn't just a library, it was an ambition. Alexandria sought to collect every book in the known world. Ships entering its harbor were searched, scrolls were seized, copied, and archived. Scholars mapped the stars, measured the earth, and debated the nature of reality itself. But Alexandria wasn't destroyed in a single blaze. It died 3 deaths. First, as a collateral damage during Julius Caesar's war, then as a victim of religious intolerance when pagan knowledge became heresy, and finally, through neglect, attrition, and mythologized blame. By the time later conquerors arrived, the library was already a shadow of itself. What was lost? Scientific treatises, early steam engines, heliocentric theories proposed centuries before Copernicus. The tragedy of Alexandria isn't just that it burned, it's that human progress is stalled because the chain of knowledge was broken. Not all libraries are lost by accident. Some are destroyed on purpose. In 1193, invaders reached Nalanda, the greatest Buddhist university in the world. Its libraries, housed in towering 9-story buildings, contained millions of palm leaf manuscripts. The fires reportedly burned for 3 months. With them went centuries of work on medicine, astronomy, logic, and philosophy. Buddhism itself would nearly vanish from the land of its birth. Centuries later, in 1562, Spanish friars burned the sacred books of the Maya. They called it conversion. The Maya called it grief. Today, only 4 Maya codices survive, an entire civilization's voice reduced to fragments. This kind of destruction has a name: libricide, the killings of books to kill identity. In 1944, after the Warsaw Uprising, Nazi forces didn't just destroy buildings, they destroyed archives. Libraries were doused with gasoline and set on fire systematically. Manuscripts didn't simply burn, they turned to ash while retaining their shape. One librarian later described touching a book and watching it disintegrate in his hands. Today, an urn of that ash sits in Warsaw as a memorial, not to people, but to memory itself. And yet, not all stories end in smoke. In Timbuktu, as extremists advanced, librarians smuggled hundreds of thousands of manuscripts out of the city, hidden in metal trunks, loaded onto donkeys, ferried down rivers. They risked their lives for ink and paper. In Sarajevo, a Jewish manuscript survived the Nazis and the Bosnian War, hidden by Muslim scholars, carried under coats, concealed beneath mosque floors. These stories remind us libraries don't survive because of walls. They survive because someone decides they matter. Today, technology is doing what fire once did, revealing what was hidden. AI can now read scrolls carbonized by volcanoes. X-rays uncover erased equations beneath medieval prayers. Libraries once spotless are whispering again. But here's the twist. While we recover ancient knowledge, we're quietly destroying our own. Entire music archives vanish in server migrations. Original moon landing footage was erased and reused. Digital files decay faster than parchment ever did. We may be living through a digital dark age, one we won't recognize until it's too late. Lost libraries teach us one thing above all. Knowledge is fragile. It needs caretakers. It needs intention. It needs memory. Fire can erase. Fire can preserve. And sometimes, indifference does more damage than flames ever could. So, here's a quiet question I'll leave you with. What knowledge are we letting disappear right now? Simply because we assume it would always be there. And there we have it, the story of libraries lost to fire, war, and time itself. Some vanish completely, leaving nothing but whispers and ash. Others survive, hidden in secret vaults, under mud, or in the hands of brave keepers of knowledge. It makes you wonder, what do we hold on to today? And what might future generations never see because we took it for granted. If this episode sparked your curiosity or made you pause and think, follow the Lil Weird podcast so you never miss a journey into the strange, the hidden, and the forgotten. Share this episode with fellow seekers and leave a comment or message to tell me which lost library story moved you the most. And if you want to support more deep dives like this, consider stopping by my coffee page. All contributions help keep the stories alive. Until next time, stay curious and keep the stories alive. Thanks for listening.